Hey.
Hi.
Oh, I just got...
She's, we're multitasking today.
Hello, everyone. Lori Boy here.
And Dr. Fawn Schaefer.
And we are here for Wellness Wednesday, and we are doing today's episode. Now, we did I don't know how long ago we did an episode
on the salt room.
in the salt room, but today we're actually in the salt room receiving
salt. Okay, it's not...
receiving salt.
You can feel it.
Yeah, I can taste it. That's why I was like, every time I inhale, I can taste it. Oh, no. Okay, we're good.
Right.
She was kind enough to suggest that we do the broadcast today in the salt room because I'm suffering from a little bit of, I don't know if it's a sinus infection. I don't know if it's just a cold. I don't know if it's from the food I ate on Saturday. It could be a combination of everything. In a stadium with 111,000 screaming fans. Maybe I caught something.
Yeah.
But I am just someone who does not want to take medication. So this to me is a better option. Go back in. Hi.
Every time we breathe, we get a mouthful of salt. Just so you know.
So if I start, we're having some technical difficulties with. I probably should have set up the Wi-Fi, and I didn't think to. But anyway, so today I don't know whether you. This might do this continually. Hi, Aunt Sandy. I don't know whether you noticed the title. This is called Fat is In.
Yes, it is.
Yay.
Most people think that's crazy. But
hello, we're back.
But hey, fat isn't as bad as everybody thinks it is.
Now, what kind of fat are you talking about?
We're talking about
fat.
The food that we eat.
Dietary fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
If your food says low fat, that's actually not good. The more fat you have, the better.
Yeah. And it goes against every single thing that we've been taught over the last, it was in the 70s when it was Ansel. You know what? I'm going to just take out my handy dandy book. Guys, if you want to learn a lot of sciencey stuff, I'm kind of a geek that way, about fat and how it's good for your body, get a hold of this book. Eat Fat. I don't like the title. Eat Fat, Get Healthy. Right? By Dr. Hyman. And I think I've mentioned before his name. So it talks about why we should increase the healthy fats in our diet. A lot of people think that when you eat fatty foods, that you get fat. It's like saying that if I eat blueberries, I'll turn blue. Only on Willy Wonka. So, go ahead.
But there is a trick, though. I mean, you have to eat healthy fats because there's all sorts of kinds of fat, but there's healthy fats will make you healthy.
We're having some problems with. Just hang in there with us, okay? We're hanging in there. We're just having some internet issues, but it'll be okay. So anyway, there's a myth out there that says that if we eat fat food, like full fat foods, like yogurt that's full fat, or I'm just trying to think of some other things.
Well, cheese and milk, but they're not. But dairy.
That's a whole other issue.
Yeah,
dairy is a whole other issue. That's a whole other episode we'll talk about.
Right.
That you'll actually gain weight from that or get fat from that or gain body fat. And so we wanted to come in today and just try and dispel that myth based on the research that we've done and actually our own personal research by eating healthy fats. So I'm going to let you take it since I'm kind of basically and I'm going to go get my book.
She's still learning how to breathe in here.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the thing that we're all kind of brainwashed by the media, and everybody thinks that saturated fat is this number one public enemy that'll cause heart disease and strokes. And really, if there's research out there, there's a lot of research out there now that shows that that's really not the case. Fat has a very, very important physiological response or purpose in your body. Fat is what makes up your cell membranes. Fat is a big component of your hormones, and it feeds your brain and your heart, actually. And it actually is very, very important in your fat-soluble vitamins, which are vitamin A, D, E, and K. If you don't have fat, then if you ever noticed it, like when you go on a diet and you eat low-fat food, think about how you feel. You don't have enough. You don't have energy. You have a brain fog all the time. You don't feel good when you cut out all that fat. So all the trend, and it's kind of going away, but you still see it a lot. Low-fat foods, fat-free foods, all that stuff has sucked the really crappy, or the really good stuff out of food and put really crappy stuff in there. What they found is it's not saturated fat that is the problem with heart disease and strokes.
Right. If you think back to when this whole craze started, the low fat, no fat, which is I think early 80s, if we weren't supposed to eat low fat, no fat, then we wouldn't have, 50 or 60% of the population is obese.
Yeah, good point.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today too.
Because there's all sorts of, like, if you look at it, a way to get fat is to eat low-fat food and diet sodas and things like that, because the artificial stuff that they put in to those foods actually makes you hungrier, and it creates this this need to this, what am I looking for, craving in your body, because you want to eat more because you're not getting the nutrients. I always teach my nutrition classes, when your body's hungry, it wants nutrients, not calories. And if you're eating all this low-fat and diet stuff, your body's going to keep being hungry because it's not getting what it wants.
Yes. So in my little handy-dandy book here by Dr. Hyman, and he is a board-certified, and he actually opened a functional medicine clinic in, the clinic in Cleveland, the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. Sorry. Brain fog. I didn't have enough fat this morning. And basically, he actually had an episode on his podcast recently where he said he had a broken brain, and a lot of it was because he was doing the same things. He was cutting out fat out of his diet. He was eating things that were low fat, no fat. There's a doctor by the name of Ansel Keys who did heart disease, and he only, if I remember correctly, did this experiment on a select group of people. And he only used a certain amount of data in his research. And he excluded a whole section of people. So he based all of his recommendations on this with everybody in all sorts. And that's what our government took. And that's when they started to say eating fat will cause heart disease.
Yeah.
And so that's when this all happened in our American Western diet.
There's if you talk about conspiracy theories, there's all sorts of skewed research from the past that we're still using nutritional guidelines from the 1960s and 70s or even early 80s, and that stuff has been debunked so many times, but we're just, as a society, we're stuck on the old ways of thinking, and that's why we all think the way that we do sometimes. So the things that you should know that really are the bad things for you is trans fats. Those are the things found in baked goods and fried foods and things like that. Refined sugars, refined carbohydrates and sugars, and of course, vegetables I haven't really mentioned.
Right.
The good fats that we're talking about are things like avocados and coconut oil and grass-fed organic butter, ghee, things like that. Grass-fed meats, raw nuts. Those are really good ways to get good fat. So fat can take up to, if you follow our thoughts, you can do 50% or more of your diet can be from good, healthy fat. And
this is something I learned throughout this process. I know a while ago I kept hearing this, what are omega-3s and omega-6s, and I had no clue what that meant until I read this book. And basically they're the fatty acids that we need in our body. But our vegetable oils and all those prepackaged foods are high in omega-6 because they contain those vegetable oils that aren't good for our bodies. Our bodies don't know how to process them properly. 3s versus 6s, and more 3s than 6s.
More 3s than 6s.
And 3s come in the coconut oils, the avocados, the good fish.
Yeah, fish.
The best fish to eat, but it's just, again, do a little bit of research about that. I eat an avocado almost daily. I know you probably eat one every day.
I do.
And a lot of people are like, oh, but there's a lot of calories in them.
Yeah.
I don't count calories.
Yeah.
Do you eat it?
Nope, not at all.
Never.
No.
Well, I shouldn't say never. I used to do it all the time. But part of this is learning about what kinds of foods to eat. I do watch my portions of certain things because, yes, I can overeat good fats.
Yes. Nuts are very easy to overeat.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be careful, but they're still really good.
So
for you.
overeating is also still a way of gaining body fat. But again, even if you're eating, so I guess that's where my rub is. So if I'm overeating calories that I'm not burning, that's when it stores the fat.
Right.
Okay.
So you can still get heavier if you eat too much, but if you're eating the right things, then your body will at least thank you for that, and you can just work on portion control at that point. But
yeah. So like last month, I introduced to the group of people that were in my challenge group to a high-fat, low-carb way of eating. I don't want to say diet. I hate to say that because everybody thinks, oh, you can't eat anything because you're on a diet. Opposite. I eat more food now than I've eaten ever in my life, I guess. Actually, I shouldn't say it that way. I just eat food that makes me feel full, like satiated, like fats. And I had a very good results, or I shouldn't say the people that were in my group had wonderful results. Again, it's not for everybody, a high-fat, low-carb diet, way of eating. You just have to investigate it. But we also, we just know, both of us, because we've lived it, that having good quality dietary fats in our nutrition gives us more energy. Brain fog thing in the morning when I don't have what I need, because I do like a bulletproof style coffee. If you don't know what that is, I know I've mentioned it before. It's where you add healthy fats to your coffee, like ghee or grass-fed butter, either coconut oil or MCT oil. And do you want to speak a little bit about MCT oil and what that means and why it's better for us?
MCTs come specifically from coconut oil, things like that. MCTs are medium chain triglycerides, so they're shorter than the normal fats, which are long chain triglycerides, which come from like vegetable oils and things like that. Your body can digest it so much faster without having to involve your gallbladder and your pancreas and all the things like your bile and the hormones that come out of your pancreas. So when you eat the meats and the cheeses and things like that, and you get fat from that, it takes your body longer to process that. MCTs are pretty much right away ready to use. They're turned into ketones, which is the idea of this high-fat, low-carb diet. A lot of people think of it as the ketogenic diet. But ketones feed your brain. So, and they go straight to your brain, and there's not a lot of digestion required. So as soon as you eat them, they don't tax your body as much. So.
And one of the things about eating higher fat and with MCTs, and I thought it was rather interesting that it's cellular level instead of just filling your belly, or so that intrigued me a lot, because if we don't have cell health, then we don't have body health, because down to that, if you remember, rewind back to, I don't even know, probably middle school, early high school, when we talked about cells. And the nucleus was the most important part, which we've learned is not. The mitochondria.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse.
Yeah, Rock should do one on mitochondria. So, I don't know if there's anything else that we missed, or
just that.
I remember reading about is there are sometimes when, sorry, I'm going to put my books down here and I'll share my one cookbook with you as well. Cholesterol, because I know when people associate fat with high cholesterol or sodium, and we all know about HDL and LDL, and one's better than the other. But when you start eating a higher fat way of eating, that's going to trip me up. I've read that sometimes your LDL level goes up, so people freak out. And what I've learned is that there's different kinds of LDL. There's puffy ones, and then there's, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm still learning about it. It's kind of interesting, but I might have to get my book.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know where she's going with that. Other than HDLs and LDLs. HDLs are your good cholesterol. LDLs are your bad cholesterol. You want them to be, when you're starting to eat a higher fat diet, it gets a bad rap as well. Cholesterol isn't gonna give you necessarily heart disease or strokes or coronary artery disease, things like that.
What? That's news to my ears. I'm just kidding.
So,
sorry.
that we watch for certain numbers, and they're not always as bad as they seem. Healthy fat as you can. I'm a big fan of coconut oil in your coffee in the morning. Nuts are actually, macadamia nuts have the best bang for their buck. So you start eating these things, you're going to feel fuller, and then I just feel more sustained by the time I get to 3.
I should have found that page prior to. I do apologize.
I'm sure she's
I can't
right.
remember. It's about the size of them. I don't remember. I don't know. I apologize for this continues to. I know, Glenda. I know it keeps cutting out. We might have to redo this one another time. But I know what it was that I wanted to say too. So rewind back to the early 80s when the whole no-fat, low-fat craze came. What did they replace these foods? What did they replace?
Crap.
Yeah. what did they use, or what did they put into it to take, to remove the
trans fats,
sugars,
yeah,
stuff that actually made us not do what our bodies are supposed to do, which is stay lean.
Chemicals that we can't even pronounce or don't know what they do. They replaced it because when you take that stuff out, it tastes like crap. So they had to do something to make it taste better, but that's not natural.
No, it's not natural.
So if you think about what, did you ever see that meme on Facebook that says if you see something that says low fat, think chemical crap storm, so to speak. That's low fat food.
Yeah, so don't be healthy fats into your diet in moderation, because that means something different to everybody. But if you have, like we were saying, we have 50 to 60% of my diet, I believe, is fat. And the only reason I know that is because I use an app that I use an app called Fat Secret. And you basically log in everything and it will calculate for you those fat, carbs, and
your
macronutrients, so that you can keep an eye on that. And it really did open my eyes to things that I, like carbs, because you can get carbs from your vegetables, but that there's a whole different dynamic to that as far as eating a handful of M&Ms versus a handful of broccoli.
Right, exactly.
We had calories not a calorie last week, or calories a calorie last week.
And when we say 50% of your diet is fat, it's 50% of your calories, but that's not going to be 50% of your plate. A fat part of your plate is going to still seem very low because healthy fats, pack a lot of calories in a very small amount of time, space.
Yes.
So you're going to still eat more vegetables and things like that than healthy fat in quantity.
Yeah.
But
right.
Still.
Did you talk about what oils are the best oils to use for healthy fats?
I said coconut oil, olive oil, but not all that. Canola oil is like the worst.
Yeah.
Please don't eat that.
Yeah.
It's like
well, and I read in this book, and I shared it with my group a couple months ago, that for canola oil, they actually deodorize, they bleach. I'm thinking about when I deodorize or bleach something at home.
Yeah, right.
Like, and then I'm putting that. Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting thing when he made that. Like she mentioned, the ketogenic diet. With any way of eating, I just have researched what works best for me. So I've taken a little bit from everything, and you even with what I've done, I've had to kind of rearrange and change some things. How about you? Is that what you've noticed as well?
Yeah, my lifestyle is a progression of listening to my body and seeing what it wants, and it's always evolving, and I think that that's good for your body because you don't want to get stuck in one little rut. But yeah, you just listen to your body, and like she said, people that do the ketogenic diet, that are hardcore about it, like they pee on a stick in their body.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
I do every once in a while look at my acidity level in my body, because I know that creates disease.
Yeah.
I did earlier this week because I didn't feel well. Well, I didn't eat the best over the weekend. If you saw any of my photos of things that I ate at the football game.
I think she's honest. She puts them right on Facebook.
It was death by chocolate. I mean, I couldn't help myself. And I truly felt like it 3 days later. I looked and I got sick, like the next day with this. And I haven't been sick. I mean, probably it was a year ago that this happened. I got the same thing. I don't know what I ate a year ago, but so I decided to test the acidity level in my body by peeing litmus test. Litmus. I can tell by just what I've been eating, and then I'm sick. So that's what happens with our body. And you middle level base, you want to be in the, not a base, but you want to be, the range is at a 7. So, and I was not.
Right.
I was not even at a 7.
But she is a good example of what happens. I mean, she doesn't normally eat the stuff that she ate. Plus, she was tired. I mean, that was a long game that she was at, and so, and she's got a little bit of stress in her life. Not that anybody. So all that stuff builds up, and then that's what happens. I'm overwhelmed, and now she's got crud.
Yes, guys, we know I got the crud. So yes, we know it's been cutting in and out, and if it's too bad when I look at the replay, we'll do it again so that it's a little more. I forgot to turn on. I think I forgot to turn the Wi-Fi switch on. But if you guys have any questions, or I don't know if we couldn't answer something that came up, please either put them in the comments. You can message either one of us. You can stop by the office and ask her personally. One cookbook that I use a lot of recipes out of, and it's by the same doctor. I love Dr. Hyman, and you can look him up on Facebook. You can look him up on YouTube. He has a podcast that's called House Call by Dr. Hyman, and they're only like 5 or 6, 7 minutes, and he just basically answers questions like from people like you and me. But these recipes in here are, and I've tried several. I mean, you think, a lot of people think that eating healthy has to taste bad. And there's a lot of really great recipes in here. I highly recommend this cookbook. I get nothing for it. Dr. Hyman, if you're watching, I get nothing for your book, and I've recommended it to a book. And it's not hard. There are a couple in here where I'm like, what's that? I've never heard of that before. So yeah, you have to kind of pick and choose that kind of stuff. That's all I have, guys.
I'm sorry we were so spotty today.
Yeah, we'll have to fix that next time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will.
Have a great day,
everybody. All right, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon.
See ya.